Baseball a natural thing for you? Is that family? Was your family part of that?
My dad always played growing up. He actually played with the old timers, and played that about 10 years. My brother Jared played. My brother Jason actually played. I wouldn't say it was the big thing of the family, though. Actually, growing up, it was bowling and basketball and soccer and baseball and hockey and golf. And during soccer season, soccer was my favorite. During baseball was my favorite. Basketball, so on and so forth. Then then eventually came high school time, and we limited it down to basketball and baseball. Then when I realized I wasn't getting past about 5'8", that basketball probably wasn't the one for me, and I ended up loving baseball the most, obviously. So that's how that all went down.
So you went Little League, Babe Ruth League, that stuff?
Yep, started T-ball at 5. Played that competitively. I remember exactly what kind of glove I had, a little Ninja Turtles glove. And we went to 8 to 10-year-old Babe Ruth, which was the Moose Club. 11 and 12 was True Value and the Shrine Club. Then it came to my days of 13 to 15, which was Container. Charlie Kent coached that team, and prior to that, my dad and my brother had coached the other teams. And 13 to 15-year-olds was when all my friends would be playing outside and doing this. And if I had a game the night before, if I had a 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock game that night, I wouldn't go do anything. All I think about is my Babe Ruth game, which is crazy to think about now. But they're always, whenever I saw my friends, they say, "Hey, it's good to see you." That was an ongoing joke. "Hey, it's good to see you out of the house. It's good to see you out of the house." Because I would never go play outside with them because I was focusing on my baseball game, which is weird and funny at the same time.
Yeah. And then after that, you got through, you played at the high school?
Yep, so played at the high school under Tony Doles, Dave Remholt. Made varsity finally my junior year. And then that took me to Fredonia. Played there for 4 years.
And your position of favorite position or your normal position?
Ooh, I don't know. Nobody knows still to this day, actually. I've always been able to hit, and I was just a very average defender. And I always tell people, I say I was an average defender because I never had a chance to practice any one position. But I went from anywhere in high school, from second to short to corner outfield. No first base, no catching. But then I was a pitcher too in high school, and then I went to college, and my coach told me he's going to convert me to a center fielder, and I wasn't a very good center fielder. I think I finally got pretty good halfway through my senior year, just enough reps and experience out there. But until then, it was like Magellan out there. I wasn't the best at tracking ball. Maybe not that bad, but my routes weren't the greatest.
So when you're out there in Fredonia, you obviously could hit, and then that's clearly you're a leadoff hitter. You are the all-time hit leader in Fredonia. All kinds of statistics where it requires offense. Jordan Basile is at near or at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a person along the way that gave you some sort of hitting tips? Because there's a lot of us ex-ball players who couldn't hit.
There was all kinds of tips along the way. Really, though, the first thing I think, me and my dad used to go to Roseland or Bergman or whatever field was open, and we had a briefcase of about 15 baseballs, and we went 4 or 5 days a week. And we just swing after swing, then we go pick up the baseballs. When we picked up the baseballs and tossed them in, we'd see who could land the baseball on the mound, so we made a game of that. And we'd go out there every day and hit, and then I'd start naming every single coach that helped me along the way, but I always remember George Barone's speeches too. He used to have us after the practice every single day, or after the game every single day. He must have been keeping notebooks full of this, because he'd have a paper with about 2 pages of notes, and he'd read through them, and we'd listen for about a half hour if you had the attention span to listen. But I'd listen to every little detail of what he was saying. But the little things like that. But the biggest thing, just so many times you can get out there and hit and play and all that, and just that's really what it come down to. Our freshman year, I remember going to a showcase, and this was at University of Buffalo. I had a temperature of about 101.5. I remember I was sick. I was thrown up in a garbage can the whole time. and did pretty good, but I never even knew what a showcase was. Nobody ever told me what a showcase was. I didn't know any of them. I'm like, I'll go try this at UB. Long story short, the only coach that contacted me was Fredonia, and I just wanted an opportunity to play college baseball. I think I said, yep, I got a college to go to. I'm going to Fredonia. Obviously, I did my homework on academics and all that stuff as well, but I'm going to Fredonia to play, and Coach Pallison up at Fredonia contacted me, and that's how that all went about, which was, and I think I said this a couple times now, but it was want to change it for the world, one of the best experiences of my life.
So in 2009, you won a program record 26 games, including an appearance in the ECAC Upstate New York tournament. Is that about as far as they'd gone prior to that time?
Yeah, so we're still technically the best team in school history. And the crazy part is, and that's what I guess I was getting to with my last point, crazy part is we came as a freshman. We weren't very good at all. And we retained those 4 years. The guys that were living in my dorms with me in that hallway, we pretty much stayed with each other for all 4 years that we were there. And we just kept slowly getting better and better. And by the time it was our junior year, like, we're so close. And then senior year, the chemistry that we built within the team and all that, we just knew, like, Cortland was always a team to beat. And Cortland used to beat the crap out of us. And we knew going into the Cortland game, which was probably our biggest win ever, we knew that we were going to go win that game. And there's, like, it wasn't really talked about with the team. We just knew we were going to go beat Cortland. We went and we beat Cortland, and it's just something you remember forever. And I think the coolest part is, and I tell some of these guys at JCC too, like, you guys have the opportunity to be the class that kind of changes the direction that we're going. And looking back to Fredonia, made that choice, and by their senior year, we're the best class in school history, and those are memories that'll last forever. So.
Yeah. Then you get done, you graduate from Fredonia. Do you have a sense where you're going next?
Well, not really. Well, there was 4 years at Fredonia, then there became a 5th year at Fredonia because I said I want to stay in baseball. So I helped coach that 5th year. I was a long-term social worker at Dunkirk Public Schools I don't know how I ended up doing there, but I was doing some substitute teaching, and I just wanted to stay at Fredonia. Wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And then I knew after that, I talking to Dan Lanetta for about a year and all that, I knew I wanted to stay in baseball somehow. Got with Dan Lanetta down in Florida, which led me to Dr. Carlo, which led me so on and so forth. Well, Patrick Henry actually was a good friend of mine, Frank Jagoda, and also a good friend of last week's episode of Tuesdays with the Tarpskunks, Anthony Barone. And Frank and I had been playing ball, and we've coached together in the past, and Frank gave me a call and said, why don't you come down and be my assistant? I said, all right, let's go do this. I'll be the assistant. Next thing you know, 2 months later, Frank's hired by the Minnesota Twins, and the job was handed over to me. So that's how that all worked out, and just crazy people, how things can happen.
How long are you there?
2 years. Well, yeah, two full seasons.
Yeah.
About a year and a half total.
Was it similar to what you got here in JCC as far as just access to ball players? Always an issue at community college is just ball players.
Yeah.
Players.
Similar in a sense. And nothing whatsoever against here, but the times have changed a little bit up here. It's amazing the amount of guys that know exactly what they want down south, because that's what they're doing all year long, and they're going to play baseball. And a lot of times, you see a little bit of a difference, but the beautiful thing, like mentality we got going at Jamestown Community College, and is we want local guys as well, and as many local guys can be part of this. Don't get me wrong. Nice part about JCC now is we get some out-of-state kids that are able to come to Jamestown Community College for in-state tuition, and that really helps. That really helps as well. Well, naturally, I've always known that we existed, just because I remember going, when I hear Jamestown Jammers, first thing I think about is a little kid at the park chasing foul balls and running over the fence, being the first one to it, thinking I just got a home run ball or foul ball from Babe Ruth, and that goes in the souvenirs. So Jammers has always been there for me, number one. Then number two, just always following along with Anthony Barone as the head coach as well. And then when baseball was coming back to Jamestown, heard from George Carlo and said, "Hey, Jordan, we're bringing baseball back to Jamestown," and that's what led me to this opportunity. Really, what it comes down to is developing connections with people and having trust in the people that you know around you, and that's how it all started. But player one for me was a player that I'd coached in the past. He's a complete competitor and a guy that I knew would be a stone cold closer for us when the game was on the line, almost like your Mariano Rivera, to give you your best comparison, really your only comparison as a stone cold closer over time. But a guy I knew would be a perfect fit for this and would love the opportunity to come in. He was all in, and that's where I started with it, and then just kind of branched myself out from there, and which really works well for me, because as a junior college coach, I'm already having conversations to move guys on, and then with this opportunity, not only is it, hey, do we have a guy, at Jamestown Community College that may go there, but you have a guy that may come here. And it works a little bit both ways. These kids get to come to Jamestown, play in front of this many fans. They live in these immaculate dorms that look over the baseball field out your front window, which also have access to a training facility your left side. That's what summer ball is all about. I spent time in Canada eating 8 different flavors of tuna fish. One day it's apricot, one day it's spicy salmon, or I guess it wouldn't be. I don't even know what the heck I was eating, but whatever's there, I took it off, and we'd find a way to eat and make ends meet. And just if looking back, and telling them if I was to have this opportunity, I would do this in a absolute heartbeat, because this is, in my mind, the best situation that you can have when you're going to play summer ball. And in a lot of it too, which made my job easy, is some of these kids that were here in the past, they go back and they tell their college coaches what their experience they had was, and everybody loves it. Everybody loved the last team that won it all down here. Every guy had a blast from the communication that I've been having. So,
what does the ability to access secrets of champions add to the conversation when you talk to a student?
It's value added that you don't get anywhere else, and especially in summer ball. I mean, usually you show up, you go play for 2 months, you hope to get a little bit better, you got your at-bats, going back to your college. Now we're adding all kinds of performance, nutrition, sleep, repair, recovery, all of that stuff that just you don't get anywhere, and not to mention with Secrets of Champions, that stuff that's been done with the best of the best in Major League Baseball and really in every platform around the world. What we've been doing is every couple of weeks we're getting on, and the players who are interested, of course, and want to listen more and get up on their health, nutrition, performance, all that stuff. We've been doing a Zoom call, which has been the common thing for everybody in a lot of areas. Can't imagine what we'd have without Skype and Zoom right now. We got on a call, and Dr. Carlo's been on there, and first day we talked about managing our energy cycles, and we led to the next thing. And every couple of weeks, these guys are going to have the chance to do this, as well as something like this as well. Some of the players are going to now continue to get on doing what I'm doing, and have an opportunity to speak as well. But with Secret Champ, just continue to add value to these guys. So whether there's 2020 baseball or not, which there isn't, they're still getting something out of this experience. And then when 2021 comes, they get double the experience, hopefully, that everybody else is, or twice the experience that everybody else is getting. But when this coronavirus started, my reaction was like, no way in heck we might lose part of our college season, but this thing's not going on for 3 more months for this. Then a month comes along, I'm like, yeah, maybe this is going to continue. Then 2 months in, it's just like, I don't see how we're going to be able to do this. So actually hearing the news at that point that it was canceled wasn't a shock, but when I first heard it, I was like, oh man, it's I'm not going to be able to step on the field and coach baseball, what I love doing for the longest time, and it just sucks.
Yeah.
That was the overall reaction of all of it, because I think not only me, but I think everybody was looking forward to 2020 and baseball being back in Jamestown.
The bat end. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about it.
I don't know, pretty neat. Yeah, black and white like the skunk. This was made actually by James Bliss, his company. Used to be SSK, and they changed over to.
Let me zero in on that.
Okay. Carving Masters, I believe it is.
Yeah.
But pretty neat. We're gonna throw our Tarpskunks sticker on here eventually, and it's spray painted both colors. There's actually two types of bats they're doing. This is the non-gloss one. They were just getting ready and prepared to go out before we got the announcement that there'll be no season. But this is what the guys will be swinging for next year.
Terrific. And that's produced by who?
James Bliss.
But you had to look at a crystal ball 5 years from now, Jordan Basile's crystal ball. What might you hope to see?
Oh boy, I guess what just clicked in my mind was just fans at the park. I think that's what just creates a buzz and excitement. Obviously, championship comes to my mind too, but being able to go to the field and people just enjoying Jamestown being back or baseball being back in Jamestown would just be the coolest thing ever, and this really going in the right direction. But I would bring it back again to me chasing foul balls. Like we used to go back and we'd have wiffle ball games behind the bleachers. We'd do whatever the heck was going on, but you'd see all your friends there. You'd hang out at the park. Like, oh, tonight's a Jammers game, and that's what we need back here. I think we need that to continue, and it is, and it's going to. But that's what I visualize in Friday night game, 7:00 under the lights, and people just loving having baseball in Jamestown.
Thank you. This is great. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.